All right, it's great to have you guys back for another week of life group discussions. We're in the message series called What Would Jesus Undo? I want to say thank you to those of you who've opened up your homes, those of you that may be leading a life group for the first time, those of you that have been faithfully leading for years and years, and I want to congratulate those of you who've taken a step of faith to be a part of a life group. If only for a few weeks, I trust that God is doing something. He's stretching you. He's conforming you to the image of Christ. Today is going to be something I believe God's going to do a work in us. It's not an easy subject at all. In fact, this may be the most difficult one we're talking about. What are we talking about? What would Jesus undo? He would undo hypocrisy. Let's review some big thoughts from the message. What is hypocrisy and what is it not? Well, first of all, let's talk about what it's not. Hypocrisy is not the disparity between what we do and what we wish we did. It's not I wish I didn't have bad thoughts, but I do. I wish I didn't, say that, but I did. That's not hypocrisy. What that is sin. What is hypocrisy? Hypocrisy is the gap between what we show and who we are. It's the difference between what we say and how we live. It's the difference between our public persona and our private character. We talked about the Greek word that's translated as hypocrisy. It's the word hypokrites. And we learned that it's like the Greek masks that they would wear during a performance. We put on a mask. To open up our discussion today with a relatively easy icebreaker question, and believe me, the questions get a little bit harder as we go. First question I'd love for you to answer is this. Number one, describe what masks you wore when you were growing up. How did you try to show people that you were something that you were not really when you're growing up? I know for me, I tried to put on a spiritual mask around the church people, around the guys that I played sports with. I was a totally and completely different person. I think I had a mask for every different group I was around. Teachers, family. I tried to act like our family had more than we did when we didn't have much at all. I was like a mask-wearing fool. Question number one, be honest. Let's start here, and then we'll grow even deeper. Number one, describe what mask you wore when you were growing up. How did you try to show people that you were something that you were not really? All right, let's dive into a little more personal question. Jesus talked a lot about hypocrisy, and he condemned different types of acts. Very specifically, he said, don't give to be seen. Don't fast to impress people with your spirituality. Don't pray to be heard to impress people about how much you love God with your prayers. Don't criticize other people when you do the same. And he really hated whenever people would take advantage of the poor. In my own life, I've looked at some things where I can be hypocritical. I can preach grace, but then I can literally pick people apart in what they do. I shouldn't care what people think, but often I obsess about what people think about me. I shouldn't love the things of this world, and yet so often I feel so much more secure when the things I have are paid off and there's money in the bank. These are inconsistencies between what I may say and how I actually live. This question will push you a little bit, but let's go ahead and be honest. Number two, what is an area that you continue to struggle with showing a side of you that isn't completely honest? What's an area of your life that you continue to struggle with showing a side of you that isn't completely honest? For some of you, social media, man, that's like the easy place. You're showing a life on social media that is really perhaps inconsistent with who you are. I know people that are inconsistent just in kind of what they show, like, here's all my material blessings. Look, I have so much, when the truth is, you're up to your eyebrows in credit card debt and you can barely pay the bills. You're putting on a show, and the truth is you're really hurting. Could be someone today, you're going to be in a life group and you're going to act like everything's good at home. And then you're going to get in a car with somebody, you're going to drive and fight all the way home. You're showing something that's not consistent with what's true or what's real. Question number two, it's a little more difficult, but let's go ahead and be honest. You're only as strong as you are honest. Number two, what is an area that you continue to struggle with showing a side of you that isn't completely honest? All right, this third question could be easy to answer, or for some of you, if you're going to be really honest, it may take some faith, but this could be a moment of breakthrough. Third question is this, and I want to talk about it and then ask it again. Question 3, how can your group pray for you? When I'm asking this, it's going to be easy to kind of go with, pray for wisdom, and that may be exactly what you need. Or, I'm kind of tired and overwhelmed, and that again may be exactly what you need. But there are some of you, you're going to answer this question today, and you're going to have a breakthrough. You're going to be really, really, really honest. And maybe ask for prayer for something you've never asked for prayer for before. Maybe you have a sickness and you've never told anybody. Maybe there's some kind of health scare and you haven't talked about it and you're going to ask for prayer about it today. Maybe you have spiritual doubts and you've got questions and you kind of try to make everybody think you don't, like you're strong, but you really do. Maybe you have an addiction that you haven't been able to break and you're going to say, you know what, I need help, stop smoking or looking at the wrong things or whatever it might be. You might honestly ask for prayer for something and have a real breakthrough. We have been a part of a life group for years and years. We had another life group that we started kind of similar to this one. It was just a few weeks long, and we met some new families. I think it was week number 2 that one of the couples came in and opened up about a betrayal that was so gut-wrenching, but it was like the weight of the world was lifted off of their shoulders. And we were able to pray for this family, love them through this tragedy, and now, years later, they are strong and they're helping other people through. I'm completely convinced that God brought our group together for that period of time for them to have a safe place to open up about something that was really difficult in their life, to really ask for prayer and to really receive from God. Proverbs 28:13 says this, whoever conceals their sins doesn't prosper. Don't hide. But the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. You may confess and ask for help today in a way you never have before. Remember, you're only as strong as you are honest. We all have gaps. We don't close the gaps with perfection. We can never be perfect. We close the gaps with Christ. Do you need him today? You're not with this group of people by accident. You're here because this is a safe place to embrace the goodness of God through a loving, Spirit-filled community. Question number 3 is this. How can your group really pray for you? Remember, Jesus has zero tolerance for hypocrisy, but he has unlimited grace for a sinner in need of forgiveness.